Pilots do a lot during a flight, but what exactly do they do? We're going inside the cockpit to find out. Here we see our pilot in the cockpit of a Boeing 737. He's going through his pre-flight checks. These include things like verifying that all the lights and equipment are working, checking the weather, and most importantly, communicating with the control tower. The plane is being fueled up, and as soon as everything is ready, the pilot will start the engines. With the engines spooled up, it's time to taxi to the runway. The pilot controls the plane using the yoke and rudder pedals to steer. The plane accelerates down the runway, and in a few seconds it will be time to take off. As the plane reaches the end of the runway, the pilot pulls back on the stick, banking the plane to the right of the runway. And with the undercarriage up, the plane is now airborne. As the plane climbs into the sky, the pilot will engage the autopilot to take control of the plane. This allows the pilot to take their hands off the controls and focus on other things like communicating with the cabin crew and monitoring the instruments. But don't worry, the autopilot isn't completely in control. The pilots are still monitoring the instruments, and they'll take over if anything goes wrong. The plane continues to climb, and in a few minutes it'll reach its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. At this point, the cabin crew will be able to serve the passengers without the added turbulence that comes with flying at lower altitudes. The pilot keeps watch on the instruments and on the radio. They're communicating with air traffic control to let them know their position and altitude. The controller will then direct the pilots to the appropriate holding pattern or course to make sure that they are on the right path to their destination. Once the plane is close to the airport, the pilots will turn off the autopilot and begin the approach to the runway. This is one of the most critical parts of the flight, and it's done manually by the pilots. The plane slows down and begins its descent into the airport. The pilot uses the spoiler to help with the descent and to slow the plane down. As the plane gets closer to the runway, the pilot will turn on the landing lights to help illuminate the runway. In a few seconds, the plane will touch down on the runway, and the pilot will apply the brakes to slow the plane down. The landing gear is then put down, and the plane finally comes to a stop. That was 1 minute in the life of a pilot. It may seem like a lot, but these pilots do it every day. So, until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.